Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on the Black Beauty tomato. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the Black Beauty, and I'll give you a close-up look of it. And you can see it's just an absolutely gorgeous tomato. I had to take these tomatoes in early while they were still partly green, and the reason for that was the plant was dying, and it was absolutely getting infested with stink bugs this year, and earwig stink bugs, white flies, I mean every kind of insect you could think of. So I had to get them out of there really quick, and I figured let me get them while they're still good and able to be eaten. At least a couple of them. These have been sitting here for like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. I mean, they were literally sitting here forever, trying to get these things to ripen because they're black, but underneath they're green. Okay, so you could see here underneath it finally started getting a little orange. But before that it was green. It just started recently turning orange. I mean, these things have been sitting out forever. So, I believe they're ripe enough for me to be able to do a taste test on them now. Had I not picked them off the plant, these probably would have ripened black pretty much all the way around. You can see this is like a beefsteak type tomato, and it's a black type of a beefsteak tomato, which is a little different than the other black tomatoes out there. But you could see the bottom, it's almost black all the way to the bottom of it. Now, had it been on the vine long enough and in a little bit more sunlight, this tomato would have been fully black all the way around it, incredibly. It got black very easily with sunlight. Even the lightest bit of sunlight, this tomato will turn black. If this tomato is sitting in the vines and there's leaves covering it, you just trim away the leaves around the tomato and let some direct sunlight come in at that tomato, and this tomato will surely turn black without any question. So, that's just a good look at it. It's a great looking tomato. Trying to give you the best view I can of it and show you, look how black that really is. Incredibly black. I'll probably open this one up too. The others are started to go bad on me, like this one here is actually starting to go bad. You can see the fruit flies got in there, and so I can't eat this, but I can still get the seed from it. But this one's still good, and I cut it open, and that's what it looks like on the inside. As you can see. And that's the bottom. A lot of black on the bottom, but again, I picked them early. And once you pick these, they might get a little bit blacker after they're off the vine, maybe very slightly, but that's pretty much it. It's not going to keep turning black, because I had put these in the sun afterwards to try to get them blackened for a few days here and there, and it didn't really pick up any more blackness. Now, if that was on a vine and I did that, it would have gotten black right underneath the tomato. The whole thing would have been totally black. So we'll work on doing that next year. We'll try to get these tomatoes fully black next year. But let's see, let's take a look at the inside of this. Now you can see that this tomato is definitely got some hybrid in it and commercial aspect to it, but it's an heirloom obviously, but it is a hybridized tomato, meaning that the seeds were either genetically crossed, like on a genetic level, or it was hybridized through another tomato species. I believe this tomato was literally genetically crossed. I believe that's what it was, because this blackness isn't natural in a tomato. They had to somehow take that from either an eggplant or a blueberry. I think it was an eggplant. They got that black gene from the eggplant and they got it into the tomato. So it's not something that you can just, hybridize, cross the flowers and you get, no. This is something totally different. So you could see that in this tomato. And you could see the skin up here where it's black around the edge. And I do see some wilding in here. So that you do see some of that in there. But it kind of looks to me like the genetics of this tomato is extremely modified. This would be what you would call a genetically modified tomato. This would be it. But it's not a GMO Monsanto genetically modified tomato. These are students, I believe, in the universities, I forgot what university it was, maybe University of Washington or something, where they actually were able to do this. So it's now that it's the cat's out of the bag, everybody's making black tomatoes now, because now you can just hybridize this tomato with another tomato, and now you got a black cross. So everybody's hybridizing tomatoes, because now those genes are already crossed over and it's already done. So this is what we're left with. This is the end product. So anyway, that's what it looks like. Multiple chambers. Seeds are firmly attached to the rind. Let's give this thing a bite, see what it tastes like. Interesting enough, it's very low on the tang and it's very low on the sweetness. It's actually quite watery and neutral flavor. There's really not much there. There is some tomato flavor and there is a little bit of tang, and it kind of carries the tomato over, but it's very light. I would say 20% maximum on the tangy part. I'll take another bite and see if my palate adjusted. But the interesting thing is it has a slight berry flavor to it, some kind of a berry. Let me take another bite. Again, there's almost virtually no sweetness. There's more tang than sweetness. So if I'm saying 20%, maybe 25% tang, sweetness is probably 15%. It's almost non-existent. It's all watery in between it, which is fine. There is a tomato taste that comes in afterwards. There is a nice after tomato taste to it, but it's not very strong. I'm going to put salt on that one, and we'll take a bite of that and see if that tastes any better with the salt. But there is a nice tomato aftertaste to it, which is nice, but low on the sweetness, kind of tangy, kind of watery and neutral in flavor. There is a good tomato aftertaste. Outside of that, I mean, but there is this berry flavor when you chew on the skin. It's very interesting flavor to it. It's hard to describe. It's some kind of a berry flavor. It doesn't taste like tomato. It tastes like a berry of some sort. The skin specifically, when you chew on it for a little bit, it releases some kind of a flavor, which is different than the tomato itself. Interesting thing. You don't normally get that in a tomato. It's kind of an interesting contrast. But if you chew on that skin a little bit, you could kind of taste a little bit of an aftertaste of a berry of some type. It's not that it's sweet. There's the essence of some kind of a berry, not a raspberry, and not really a blueberry, but maybe something going towards that area. Definitely not raspberry, but there's something like that. It's weird kind of a flavor. It's not unpleasant. It's there. I just want to mention that. So we're going to put a little salt on that. Oh yeah, you put the salt on that, brings that tomato right to par. You don't care about the sweetness. That salt brings that tangy flavor right out to the surface, and then you can get a much better, stronger tomato flavor aftertaste after that. You have to have salt with this tomato. This tomato is definitely, it's not your everyday salad tomato. This is something you want to salt up, heat it in an oven, put a little cheese on it, put some oregano and basil and sprinkle that on there, a little bit of olive oil, and bake them in the oven a little bit. Load it up with sea salt and just eat it like an hors d'oeuvre, just like that. Delicious with the salt, absolutely delicious. A very nice tomato. Definitely, I definitely recommend it. Yeah, the skins are a little bit strong on here. They're a little stronger than I would like, but it's not bad. I mean, just to grow a bunch of these black tomatoes like this and put these on your table would be really interesting. This would, if somebody's like really into the color black, like everything they own is black, and you know they wear black lipstick, black nail polish, and you're all into that goth black look, this would be the tomato for you. This would absolutely be the tomato for you. So, very interesting tomato. I'm definitely going to rate this tomato a 2 for look and appearance, nostalgia. It grew pretty good. It would have done a lot better hadn't it gotten attacked by so many different insects, and the cold weather started coming in. Now it's warm and the diseases hit the plant. It really got taken out quick. But it did grow pretty good, and it was not a bad producer for what it went through and how it survived this summer. Did pretty good. So I'm definitely going to rate it a 2 for not just the nostalgia and the look, but the growth of the tomato, the production of the tomato. And the true, you know, it definitely produced a true black tomato. There's no question on that. That is 100% true black tomato. You can't go wrong with this one. This is definitely something you'd want to grow in your garden just for the looks of it. People will be looking like, what is that, an eggplant? And it's a real good conversation piece right here. So yeah, we're going to rate this number 2. And that's your review for your Black Beauty tomato. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.